Well, what's up, friends? It's actually been a little bit since I've been on here, so there's a couple of things to catch up on. The most important is there's a video, not a video, there's a Facebook post that a good friend of mine sent me, and then this morning I had like 2 or 3 of you guys send me, so I was like, all right, well, let's go take care of this. Let's get to the bottom of it, and it's pretty. Here's the short of it. It's a post of a gentleman who claims a close friend of his got one of the first lightnings and that it immediately broke down while hauling. I've reached out to the person who posted it with no avail. Let's take a look at that. And then along with a couple other news points we'll get into at the end of that. So without further rambling, let's just dive into this post and see what it says. So I'm, of course, going to be blurring the person's name just because he never actually answered me when I asked if I could interview him or if he would come on to tell me more about it. So, maybe I'll do an update if he changes his mind or gets back to me. I'm going to read it from the top. It says, so let's just say someone local got one of the first F-150 electric lightnings that everyone's talking about. He was told by dealer the range was 320 to 350 miles on a full charge. He pulled his camper that weighs 8,000 pounds. Truck has about 10,000 pound tow rating, by the way. And the battery was dead and stuck on the side of the road in under 60 miles. You can push this electric agenda all you want, but the technology isn't there to support what you're selling. Sorry. It's really the comment at the end that has me like, well, is this guy just making up a story to try to push the opposite agenda? Because it almost seems that way. It really bugs me when people do that. But, I would have brushed this off, but I'm digging in the comments, and then I found this, and he follows it up. He says, I can assure you this isn't fake news. I don't post BS that isn't true. I don't know what to say here. It's a very unreliable source at this point. It's coming from someone who's obviously not excited about electric vehicles, which really, let me back up just to the point that's like, I want to report on this to get ahead of it. If I got this sent to me, you're probably going to be seeing this from other people very soon. So let's get ahead of it and talk about it. Is the main reason I'm reporting on this. I don't want to spread this narrative any further. So hopefully that makes sense and is coming off the right way. I have 2 theories. Ready? It's either true, and this gentleman had a pro model, maybe without the tow kit, and was just diving in. Because as we know, Ford announced that they kicked off production with the Pro model.
I'm pleased to share with you that we will begin shipping Lightnings in the coming days, starting with our Pro series.
If anyone's getting a delivery fast, it'd be the Pro unit. And there's been very few deliveries, which makes me wonder if this is accurate. So maybe it was a Pro model and it couldn't actually tow. They didn't have the tow package. Maybe they obviously didn't do their research or the dealer didn't know, because the Pro model also doesn't have a range of 350. It's the consumer version is only 230. So, maybe it really did break down because they overworked it. Remember, the towing package that you add on adds extra cooling for the batteries. So if he was trying to haul the 10,000 or 8,000 pound truck, yeah, maybe it did break down, and it's totally to be expected because he just was given bad information and he overloaded the batteries or something. So on that hand, maybe it's totally true. Now, on the other hand, if he actually made it up, this post is made up, well, then it's a shame, and I'm sorry for even making this video. So, because I'm just furthering this person's, I don't know what to say. So, I hope it's not true, but I just want to say there is a world where maybe they just had the wrong information. They went out thinking they could do X with this truck, but it couldn't be completed because they didn't have the right specs on the truck. Let's continue the conversation as if that's what happened. The fact that maybe they bought the base Pro model, nothing added on, the cheapest thing they could get, and tried to overwork it. And they probably thought they could. All the marketing for the Lightning has been like fantastic. Hey, power your house. Hey, tow 10,000 pounds. If you're not into like the news of it and the nitty gritty, and you're only going off what your dealer says, like maybe you just sincerely didn't know what your vehicle was capable of. And I'm seeing this a ton with dealers, that they just don't care to learn about the specs of the vehicles. Like, or they just get like the one sheet. They know the basics that we're all seeing in like the main marketing of the Lightning, and then they regurgitate that information to customers. And if we don't get these dealers to really engage and coach the consumers, because not everyone's like us watching these videos or studying the ins and outs of this truck. Like, you know, they'll do some research, but they're probably not going to know each spec for each trim level and know which packages to put on. They're going to have to rely on the dealer a little bit. And that's a little contradictory to my overall philosophy that everyone's shifting to doing their own research, buying it on their own, and wanting that ability. But that doesn't exclude the fact that there's some people, like I'd say old school truck guys, who are just making that switch to an electric truck. All they've known is buying by a dealer. They don't like buying online. Those are the people who are going to need to be fully educated, because they're not diving into the information. And hopefully that makes sense. And I think it's really important that, and you know, maybe this will come with the split that Ford's offering. I think it'll be great when we have the ICE sales and the electric sales split, and maybe there's even two different places you can go to buy an ICE versus electric Ford. And the people who work at the electric Ford centers can be very versed on this stuff. They can know the ins and outs and help people buy the exact spec that they need. Or I don't know. I think it's important that education is huge, because we're going to get a lot of bad publicity if we don't. You know, if people just dive into this blind or are given false information and expect things can happen, and then they overwork their vehicle and then it fails, then you just see the headline that it fails. You don't see the headline that, well, you tried to do something that the vehicle is not supposed to do. So all this said, I'm very much a proponent of this truck, of EVs, and education of it. I mean, that's, I guess, what my channel is even. So, man, I actually didn't expect to talk so long on just this subject, but I don't know. It really, when I read this, I had like a very visceral reaction to it, and I really wanted to hop in and talk about it. So hopefully you found this interesting. Let's talk about a couple other things. Let's end on some good news. So I'm really late to this thing that popped up, but Ford Lightning got a horsepower spec update, which is pretty great. So if you didn't see, we got about 20 to 25 horsepower increase on both the standard range battery and the extended range battery for the Lightning. So I believe, let me pull up the numbers real quick. The standard range battery went from 426 up to 452 horsepower. Great. And the extended range battery went from 563, to 580 horsepower, which this is great news. I mean, it's just, no one's going to complain about more power. It's just, you know, it's great. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, you spec the already really fast, awesome vehicle to just go a little bit better, like a little more power. What are you going to say? It's cool. But at the same time, I'm asking this, maybe this is a good prompt for our little comment section here, is like, would horsepower spec be the number one thing that you wish would have been the news of that? Like, let's just limit it to like range or something. Like, we got what, 20 more horsepower on average for both trim level or both battery levels. What if that was range, just 20 more miles of range? Would you have rather had the range or the horsepower? I might have went with the range, but I mean, I'm not complaining either way. No, I would have definitely went with the range, I think. But it's not this or that. It's not how it works. Although I wonder if you reduce the horsepower back a little bit, maybe you use a little less energy, maybe gain a little range. Probably not 20 miles worth, but food for thought. I don't know. So the results of that meant that there's actually more I don't know if it directly correlated to the horsepower, but however, they bumped up the payload on the vehicle. And this is not for the Platinum and not for the extended battery. Those ones are still, remember, the bigger battery is a little bit heavier, so they don't get this spec increase of payload, which is, you know, another reason why maybe the standard range battery in the Pro is more work friendly, because it has this higher payload. It went up from 2,000 to 2,230 pounds, which is a lot. Again, it's like, great. I don't know if that 200 pounds would have made a difference or not, but hey, no one's going to complain about more capability. So it's just good news all around there. I've got a couple other things that I want to get into maybe later this week, early next week. I was looking around, and I actually saw that the spec units, like the demo unit mannequins, I found a way to search on Google to see which Lightnings were coming in at which dealers around me. So if that sounds interesting, maybe I'll make a video on that. But long story short, so I don't waste more time here, I was able to contact a couple of them. So as soon as they hop on the lot, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there to demo that and film that for you guys. So I'm stalking every single Lightning in my area to make sure I can film as much content for you guys as possible. So I'm excited about that, and I'm going to end the video here. Wow. That was a mouthful. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I was really, what's the word? Juiced up on this video. No, I'm ending the video. Yeah, I think you guys know what I mean. I'm going to end it. Oh, please do subscribe. I really appreciate, guys, you've came through. Like I was asking that earlier a couple weeks ago for you guys to subscribe and stuff. Like it feels so awkward whenever I do it or whatever, but it worked. Like, you guys are the absolute best. I'm not going to do that in videos anymore because I just hate doing it. But if you're new to the channel and you do want to stick around, I'd love to have you. And you watched this far, so I mean, what's a couple more videos, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave. Bye.